Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris, man. And as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. I'm going to do a part 2 of a video I just recently posted called Songwriters Beware. Because in that video I discussed, or I mentioned that I was going to kind of give you some stories about how I got started. And after reviewing that video, I didn't do that. So I thought that it would be, I guess, pretty informative if I did that. Because this is one of the businesses where there's no specific plan. Like, say for instance, you want to be a lawyer. You know what you need to do. You go to high school, you go to college, then you go to law school. You know, boom, that's it. But with getting in the music business, there's no straight path. So, you know, you kind of get in the best way you can or the best way you know how. So I'm going to share how I got started as far as songwriting. And it started like this. You know, I started to play various instruments. Then I bought a multi-track. And I think the multi-track really just kind of opened the doors for creativity as far as, man, I can lay down a bass line. And then I can listen to it back and forth. Then I can work out some guitar chords or piano chords or a drum beat. You know, so, you know, a multi-track, it's invaluable as far as a songwriter's tool to get started. So I got to the point where I thought I had some stuff that was pretty decent. So I went. And this is before the internet, as far as you can go Google stuff. You have to go to the library. So I went to the library and I bought a book, and I suggest everybody that's interested in getting into songwriting, the music business, buy this book. It's called Attention A&R. This business of music. I know it started off with Attention A&R. And so I bought that book, and it had a lot of good information as far as the names of the record companies, their addresses, their phone numbers, their fax numbers, publishing, their phone number, their fax number, their location, and just other things as far as tips on how to pen your song. So I looked in the book and I found a publisher that was close to me in Chicago, about maybe a 15-minute drive. So and they recommend you call first, introduce yourself, and state your business. So I called the person. It was a lady. Her name was Fran. And I'll never forget Fran, because Fran really believed in me, and she really pushed and got me in the door. So I called her, explained who I was, you know, what I was trying to do, you know, get into the business as a songwriter, and could I submit some material to you, or to her. So she said sure. So and one thing about people in the business, they tell you if your stuff stink, and it's like they're not trying to be mean or rude, but it's like this ain't gonna get you nowhere, dude. So I submitted 4 songs, and they always say submit your best song first. So when they pop in that cassette, because if they don't like the first song, most likely they're not gonna listen to the other 2 or 3 of them. It's going in the garbage. Or one A&R guy told me I had a bunch of free Lifetime cassettes. And I was like, when he told me that, I understood what he was saying. He said that he basically used those, erased over those demos and just used those cassettes for his personal use. That's just how ruthless they are. So I submitted 4 songs. And when I submitted them, like probably on Tuesday, I came back, dropped them off, and she got back to me like that Friday. She said, you got something here. She said, and I didn't, sometimes you don't really realize some of your other strengths because you kind of focusing on this, because at that time I was just focusing on trying to be a good guitar player and just a good scatter, a good writer to write musical stuff, but the melody, because melody is really important to me. But I didn't realize how well I wrote lyrics, because and I think what helped me with that is I'm a sensitive guy. You know, I'm not one of those macho, strong dudes. You know, I'm like, when you do something that hurt me, it hurts. You know, especially if I care about you. And that turned out to be kind of my strength as opposed to my weakness. And the very first song I wrote, it was about a relationship that I had. And I got crushed. It's like, boom. I was in love, you know. And I found out through her friend, or through her cousin, who was a really good friend of mine. She said that she didn't tell you. And she tell me what? She's like, oh my God. She said she got another boyfriend, you know, older dude making more money and driving a fancy car. That devastated me. I went home. I cried. It's like, whoa. The next day, I wrote a song called I'm the One That Loves You. And there was a line in there that just floored the music publisher, Fran. She said, when I listened to that song, I cried. And the line that took her was, you're sitting out in the rain trying to hide your tears. She's like, she said, you got a gift, because the gift of a songwriter is to be able to touch people. And she said, you got that gift. She said, you write good music, but your lyrics are just unbelievable and they're great. And I didn't think about how good the lyrics were, as far as the stuff that I write. She said, you're a really good lyricist. No, she said, I also recommend you collaborate with people that do good music and you write the lyrics, which I've done. So she was impressed. She heard the other tunes. She said, I like them all, but that one just kind of just took me, just floored me. And it's really interesting, and it's good to have a music publisher that's a woman. And I'll tell you why. Women are more sensitive. They will listen to the lyrics and kind of feel them. Men listen to them and they're good lyrics. They're like, they're good lyrics, but no other additional feedback to say, man, that was hard, woman. That just hit me there, because it's a macho man thing. So, it's probably best to try to work with a female publisher, because, they will kind of feel where you're coming from more deeply. So she said, I know a guy, General Crook. That was the name she gave me. And I had no idea at that time until years later how big General Crook was in Chicago. He was like, I guess he was the Chicago version of Johnny Taylor and Tyrone Davis. He just had that much weight. And she said that I'm going to introduce you to him. Or should I say, I'm going to send this to him, and if he likes it, he'll call you. He called me about a week later. He said, I like what you got here, especially the second song, because the second song had this reggae feel to it. And it was not done deliberately. It's like I was just messing with the drum machine and got this weird syncopation, drum beat. And then I kind of laid some keyboard parts on it that was in sync with the drums and kind of gave it a reggae swing. He said, I really like that one. And I did some creative with that particular song too, because as far as the rim shot, I lowered it and it had a really heavy boom. So it was a very unique drum pattern. So he said, unfortunately, I can't use it because I just finished out the studio working on my material and I'm about to release it. But there's another guy by the name of L.V. Jones. Is it Jones or Johnson? L.V. Jones, who was kind of a blues guy during that era too. And he said that, I think that he liked the second song on there. So long story short, we submitted it to him. He liked it, and he recorded it. But unfortunately, he passed away before the album was released. He had, I think, might have been diabetes, and he had a blood clot in the leg or anything. But that was my first experience as far as getting something recorded. Now, it didn't get released, but it got recorded. And I can share other stories, but I don't want to ramble with these. I just want to kind of make a point as far as, how I got started and the channels you need to go through as far as getting your stuff where you need to have it gone. Because, again, I bought that book, and that book gave me a lot of good leads, and that lead led into relationships with these publishers that was interested. And I felt a sense of, I guess, a goodness came on me to say, damn, I am good enough, because you question yourself when you first start. Do I suck? Is this not going to work for me? Am I wasting my time and my money? But when you get involved with people in the business, they'll let you know. Trust me. They will not kind of, sugarcoat it. And they're not trying to be mean or facetious. It's just that they're going to let you know honestly that this ain't going to work for you. Maybe you need another line of work. This is not going to go anywhere, but I was really fortunate that I ran into some people initially that believed in me and said, he's a young guy, he's hungry, he write good stuff, he does most of his instrumentation, and most of all, I did all of my arrangements, because a lot of times, it takes 2 or 3 people. For some people, it's like for me, I came from an era of the Prince era where everybody's trying to do everything like Prince, and it wasn't for vanity reasons, just that in our neighborhoods, it wasn't just available keyboard players, available bass players, available drummers. So we had to take on that task ourselves to say, I got to do the best that I can because these guys ain't around. They're not readily available, So that's what that was about. It wasn't about, oh, I can play all these instruments and I'm all that. It's like, no, it's like we don't have these guys around, so we got to do it ourselves. So I'm going to do a series of these and share more stories as far as some of the other stuff that I've done. And the ghostwriting thing again that I mentioned before, because that was kind of my bread and butter, because I'm like, I don't want the fame. Just give me the money, because I want to be able to walk outside and not have anybody grabbing at me and pointing at me and chasing me. I don't want that lifestyle. There's some people that live for that type of attention. I've never ever wanted that. I'm like, I'm the dude in the back, because when we do our gigs in the various bands I was in, people will come up to the vocalists and say, we like the set that y'all gave. I got an engagement coming up that I like to book you guys. So who do I talk to? They pointed over to the guitar player, the little quiet dude over there. So that's your boss, or not boss, but the overseas. Yeah, that's the guy that arranged the stuff, write the stuff, put together the shows. So I love being in the background. I never wanted the mic in my face, because I give a lot of respect to singers, because they got to deal with a lot. Everybody is focused on them. That's a lot of stress and pressure. Me, I'm in the background, just making sure I'm not messing up. I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. But the guy that's up front, he got to deal with all types of stuff. So I'm going to wrap this up, but until next time, take care, and I hope that this has been entertaining and educational, and I'll do some more of these in the near future. Thanks for watching.